Good afternoon. I want to thank everybody who joined us. Ukraine Media Center Inform continues its operation. My name is Olga Atamanova, and it's year 9 of the war and day 330 of the full-scale invasion of Russian aggressor in our land. And I want to thank the representatives of all the mass media who tell the world the truth about this war. Now we will be talking about the tragedy, the horrific tragedy that happened yesterday. Joining us here is Mariana Reva, the spokesperson of the National Police of Ukraine. Miss Mariana, let's start with what's known already. Let's try to reconstruct the chronology of the events. Good afternoon, everybody. January 18, 2023 became a black page in the history, not only in the history of the Ministry of Internal Affairs, but for whole of Ukraine. It's not only a horrific tragedy for our ministry, not only for Brovary, but this horrific tragedy resulted in deaths of the citizens of the town of Brovary. Now we can state about 14 casualties, including one child, one girl born 2017. There were 13 persons on board. Air crew and the representatives of the Ministry of Internal Affairs, Yuri Lubkovich, State Secretary of Ministry, the Minister Denis Monastyrsky, and Deputy Minister Yenin. Also on board was the present was Tatiana Shitak, the aide to the minister, and two security guards and one photographer. Right away after the police received the report, there were 70 reports incoming about this horrific tragedy, about the fire which erupted. People have heard some explosion. There was an aircraft, a rotary wing aircraft, which fell in Brovary. There were multiple units forwarded at the spot of the crash. The representatives of the Ukraine State Emergency Services arrived at the spot immediately and started to put out the fire. The management of the National Police of Ukraine arrived as well with the representatives of the Ukraine Security Service and other specialized government agencies. An investigation team was created which is about to investigate the events and the causes of this crash. Currently, the investigators of the police are engaged in the investigation and they take all reasonable and necessary and available efforts to achieve the positive results of the investigation, but the agency responsible for investigation is State Security Service. More than 300 witnesses were interviewed on spot, along with more than 2,000 witnesses or potential witnesses who were residing in the area. All the information will be accumulated and handed to the government agency which is responsible for investigation, for analysis. That's it. Ms. Mariana, are there still searching operations going on? No, the search and rescue operations were over yesterday. The remnants of the helicopter were evacuated. The territory of the kindergarten will be cleared shortly, and the local authorities are about to start the repair of the facilities. So what are the versions that are being considered as for the crash? We had 5 investigation teams along with the criminalists and forensic analysts who were gathering the evidences anything that can help the investigation. There were patrol police representatives working on spot, along with the juvenile prevention police representatives. We understand that unfortunately kindergarten facilities suffered, the children suffered. So the local police officers were engaged in investigation too. Do we know where the helicopter was going to? We can state that the rotary wing aircraft was going on a duty trip to the areas along the front lines. It's a very frequent case when the top level management of the ministry goes to the front lines to see the situation on front, to see the level of provision of ministry units who are in the hot spots, so that they were doing those business trips on a regular basis to be able to undertake relevant resolutions. We know that Igor Klemenok was appointed the acting deputy minister. How will he join these offices? Yes, yesterday the Cabinet of Ministers of Ukraine appointed Igor Klemenko as the deputy of Minister of Internal Affairs and the head of National Police, and he was vested the functions of acting Minister of Internal Affairs. Shortly, the staff resolution will be taken as to the person who will be acting head of National Police. However, the situation is under control. I want to assure you all the bodies in the system of Ministry of Internal Affairs work in a constructive and arranged way. Our collective is emotionally loaded, but we understand that the safety and security of all the society is in our hands. We are responsible for defense and protection of our homeland, so we understand that everybody wants the ministry to continue to fulfill their duties in a professional way. Mariana, it's a great loss for everybody, including the collective. How I cannot help but asking, how does the collective go through this period, through this tragedy? Will there be a solemn, last words goodbye? I think that everybody will want to say their last words to the minister and other representatives of the management. Yes, we will promulgate this information shortly when we will know about the place. We know that collective goes difficultly through this. It's a great loss for everybody. Those people, they were very humane, professional, and we want to extend our condolences to the relatives of those perished and to each other, because again, it's a great loss for all of us. But I want to emphasize once again, it would not affect the fulfillment of our professional duties. Dear colleagues, if you have any questions, please, but again, please remember that the investigation is still in progress and the spokesperson cannot disclose all the information. Good afternoon, Maria Gonchar, Ukrinform. Two questions. First, about the injured and casualties and injured, including children. How many of them are in the medical facilities and in what conditions? And maybe about the DNA analysis for the investigation. Well, we know about 25 injured, including 11 children. Currently, in the burn department, there are 4 children in the stably difficult condition. 7 children are being let go home, and 4 more adults are in medical facilities, and their condition is satisfactory. As to the DNA analysis, the analysis will be appointed by the persons responsible for investigation as much as it's necessary to get the answers to our questions, and then depending on the number of those DNA analysis, we will know the time period, the time frame, and the expert who will be able to state the causes of this horrific tragedy. Tatiana Kozak yesterday, the spokesperson of the Air Force, Yuri Ignat, commented on the model of the helicopter. It was Airbus Puma 225, correct? And also yesterday there was information from the witnesses that the fire erupted in the air. The fire of the rotary wing erupted in the air. Well, as to the first question, just a couple of details. Yeah, it was a Super Puma. And second question, there is a number of pictures and video materials. They're all collected and they're added to the materials of the criminal proceedings. They will be studied by the experts, and only then we will be able to give you some more details, because we cannot state anything without the analysis of the experts. Канал Ukraina, Olena Chernikova. Once again, I would like to stop at the number of versions. Well, based on the first details that we have, we understand that the analysis and investigation will be in place. Will it take weeks or months or how long? I didn't stop at the versions on purpose, because, as I said, it's a state security service who is responsible for the investigation, and in their formal statement yesterday they already reported the number of versions which are being studied currently. Quoting the state security service, there is a violation of the flight rules, technical issues, and purposeful actions on destruction of the aircraft. The investigation team will be working on that, and the experts will draw their conclusions respectively. Oля Dashko Espressa, you already mentioned that 7 children were let go home, and there are 4 adults in medical facilities and 4 more children. And what's going on with the rest of the injured? Well, their injuries are slighter, so they are being let go home too and supervised by doctors. Another question, I was talking to a doctor in the burning center, so she confirmed the information that those who wish may go abroad to continue treatment there. Can you name the country which is ready to accept our injured ones? Well, currently I cannot provide any statements in this regard, because there are responsible agencies which develop this rehabilitation and recreation programs, and I think that Ministry of Health would give better comments on that. Thank you, dear friends. I think that our spokesperson replied all the questions. I'm reminded you joining us was Mariana Reva, the spokesperson of the National Police of Ukraine. Thank you for this broadcast. Dear colleagues, right now we're follow our announcements, and bear with us, trust in our armed forces, and work together for the victory. Glory to Ukraine.